have you with us today for another Chalk Talk session. Today's a special day. I've got a special guest. We're going to talk about ultra low latency as it relates to online video and kind of where that's going. Steve Miller-Jones from Limelight Networks, who's the VP of Strategy and Industry. And Steve's going to kind of talk about ultra low latency video, CDN, and then we're going to show a little video talking about it, give you a kind of an example of how it works. And Steve's going to walk us through that, and we're going to jump in and talk to Steve right now. Hey, Steve, welcome.
Hey, JP, how's it going?
All right, great to have you here. Now, for everybody to know, Steve's on the other side of the water, of the lake, over in London. So Steve's up a little bit. We're doing later his time, early my time. Steve, thank you for being on today. Appreciate your time, and welcome to the session. Maybe just take a moment to talk about a little bit of your background and introduce Limelight Networks.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's a great pleasure to be here. The time, who knows what time it is in this year of strangeness that is 2020.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah. But as you say, I work for Limelight Networks. Limelight, our role in the world is to enrich people's lives, right? We make information, knowledge, entertainment instantly accessible to people. We're a leader in delivering online content. So that's online video, gaming, applications, all the stuff in between. We do that with a global network of interconnected points of presence. We have about 120 of them in over 50 countries. And we have a lot of network bandwidth that goes with that. So we have about 80 terabits per second across the globe. And of course, we use that, as the sun follows the world and the audiences are up, we use that to deliver, the content that everyone's consuming these days. I've been in the industry a little longer than I care to remember, but back in the day, I used to work in the encoding trucks, and I've run, the servers in the data centers. I've racked the data centers, and at Limelight, over time, I've worked in operations and solution engineering, and until the last kind of 5 to 7 years, been working in the product group. I ran the product group for a while and moved into our sort of product strategy, edge strategy, and now, helping oversee that and the intersection of our business strategy with product strategy. So, I think it's a really exciting time to be in the industry as we really come to terms with, what everything is online, and how do we make that right, and how do we make that work for everybody, and how do we keep the quality up so that it's not like technology is a challenge, but technology is actually helping us, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, totally. And you're right. And we are in this new state of this new era that we're in, and I think that you hit it right. Just the amount of change that's occurred in just the 8 to 9 months has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Obviously, unfortunately related to a pandemic, right? And that being kind of the catalyst that's kind of set things off. But certainly it's brought about a new level of innovation in our area in the community in terms of live streaming and online video, and for you guys, especially at Limelight Networks, being able to offer and look at areas you can, like you said, improve the experience and the quality of service and the various attributes that are associated with a typical CDN. In thinking through that a little bit, for folks who may not be familiar what a CDN is and understanding that terminology that we know what it is. Maybe could you take a moment or so to talk about, what is a content delivery network? How does that add value separate from somebody, say, using some other free service? When we talk about live streaming, what does a CDN really come into play?
Yeah. Well, sort of, a way to think about it in some ways is it's a little bit like any kind of delivery service, right? If you wanted to send something somewhere, you don't buy your own delivery trucks and set up your own delivery hubs. Like you use those services that someone else is providing, and then those delivery trucks carry many parcels and packages for delivery kind of at the same time. So a CDN is kind of like a delivery mechanism for the internet. We've worked and helped launch and grow some of the largest video companies in the world. So they look at us and say, when someone presses play, the request comes towards Limelight, right, and the other CDNs, and we then look at that request and say, have I got that like on the delivery truck already? Can I give that to you from the truck or our cache? And if we've got it there, we deliver it. And sort of that gives scale to the online video platform. So many people can request the same thing or a range of things at the same time, and we look for it locally, and if we have it, we deliver it. So that's scale. If we don't have it, we then go back through the distribution chain towards the customer, if you like upstream, and we look for the content towards them. And then we deliver it onwards, and we keep a copy as we go, so that the next time someone asks for the same thing, like, someone's 5 minutes ahead of you in the latest episode of, insert your favorite comedy here, when you catch up with that next 5-minute piece, hey, I've already got that piece of content, I can give it to you. Or, the guy next door, lady next door has already downloaded the most recent game for their console. Well, hey, we've got a copy of that and we can send that to you as well. So it moves the distribution towards the edge. It moves the distribution away from customers' own infrastructure. So it gives them the ability to scale the delivery of that video content, that live event, those games, those apps. When everyone's like, I've got to buy something right now, and it's like a, super sale day, or something's popular. How do you make sure your app doesn't crash? It's all about helping give scale and access to that content by spreading it out and being the distribution channel.
So Steve, we've seen a lot of growth over the past 8 to 9 months with the consumption of people at home in relation to the pandemic and the increased online time through various devices, accessing online video content through a variety, whether it's the mobile to OTT services or what we call Roku, other types of spectrums. You at Limelight did a report this year, you all, on the state of online video for 2020. Maybe share some insight in terms of what you guys are seeing in terms of that consumption, and kind of this leads in maybe to where we're talking about the ultra low latency type of topic for video for real-time interaction.
Yeah, so we do an annual report on the state of online video looking at consumer behavior. And so what we've seen this year, high level point, streaming's at an all-time high. We've seen consumers at home, during the pandemic, and we've seen video viewing increase about 16% year over year. And we've seen nearly half of all the people around the world that we survey have adopted a new streaming service since the pandemic began. And so, when you're asked for why you're adding a subscription, it's about, there's been more time at home, but it's about range of content. It's about ensuring you're getting access to everything. And so we also look at quality there. And so a lot of what we focus on is how to get the best delivery for our customers, so that when you're watching the video, you're getting the highest quality, you're not getting interruptions, you're not getting the spinning wheel of death, you're not getting those rebuffers. And so people are still saying that rebuffering is still the most frustrating aspect of viewing video online. Everyone's expecting high quality there, and like younger viewers, they both watch different content types, being a little bit shorter form. They watch live, and they're just not used to putting up with something that's not very good, right? They're used, they have a very short attention span.
Yeah, they do.
And right, for content that's short, and then they expect it just to work and be good.
Right.
So that's a really interesting challenge on the rebuffering and quality side. And then when we talk about live, we're still seeing this challenge of latency. Most people in responding to the survey are saying that they'd be more likely to watch the event streamed if there is not a delay from broadcast. So that latency that's introduced during streaming is still a challenge for people to reduce, and it's something we've been working really hard on.
No, I think that's absolutely, and I think that's kind of the current state of our new norm, right? Of this consistent new workflow that we're in especially from your side, from Limelight, in terms of a CDN, in terms of the services and the broad range of services that you're providing for your customers and those that are the viewers and that are experiencing online audience that are associated with a service they may be accessing that is supported by Limelight. When we talk about live and going into that topic and looking at, I think more and more what's coming up is this ultra low latency, right? People want this more real-time interaction. And I kind of talked about, sports and different avenues of content that kind of usually pulls that in. Something that you guys are working on, you just made a recent announcement talking about delivering lower latency or real-time interaction with live streaming. Maybe let's just jump into that. I know there's an announcement. What kind of go into that process? What does it look like?
Yeah. So what we have is a product called Limelight Realtime Streaming, and what that really enables is the opportunity to create these real-time interactive applications that include both the video with less than a second of latency globally
Mhm.
and the ability to share data across the viewers of that stream. So it makes it easier to deliver these online viewing experiences that are collaborative or that are sort of network based, and sort of change how the viewers are interacting with the programming or interacting with the game or the data in the game or interacting with the commentators. And so, we've added this. We have pretty much the widest range of low latency online options in
Mhm.
the industry. So, standard delivery, which, for online, you get somewhere between 30 seconds and a minute of latency. We've got options to reduce that down with packaging services. We've got options to be um, delivering modern, up-to-date formats that give you sort of 2 to 3 seconds of latency. And we've got this new updated service in the network that's offering this distribution at scale for with less than a second of global latency. So it's that combination of those options, and in the sub-second piece, having the ability to introduce the data element really makes it exciting for the introduction of new features. And so we're seeing that with some of the live sporting events where the audience isn't there. There's sort of like common side chat with commentary, data overlays. What did someone think about that?
Yeah.
There are some wagering and betting opportunities as well, or even quiz type, engagement for the audience during commentary. So it's
Mhm.
pretty exciting.
No, that is that, and I think that's actually been something I've got excited about. I follow from an auto racing fan, Formula One, and different sporting racing elements. It's been certainly interesting to see an empty you know racetrack or Grand Prix where you just have the commentators and people interact. But being able to add kind of the element back in because of the social distancing and the restrictions that they're trying to manage there locally,
Right.
to be able to provide that service. So in talking through that a little bit more, I think a lot of people have jumped into using like products like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Slack, different ways of adding some interactive capabilities. And we've seen that certainly with some of the NBA sports tournaments that were going on here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, going where people have been going down that road to look at those solutions, those platforms, do you see an advantage where you guys are providing that, as you talk about that integration of that service capability and managing it, as opposed to them jumping over to like Zoom or Microsoft, or do you use both, or is there a distinguishing between the two? Because I think a lot of people have kind of seen so much of those other products that, when we talk about this, maybe we can help kind of distinguish between the one or the other.
Yeah, so what we're offering is a way for someone who's producing content to get it distributed, and that will turn up in their player environment in the app that you're using to view those streams in, and we're the technology that's plugged in to make it scale and to make that video arrive and give you that best possible online experience. When you're using like a Zoom, that's kind of like the application that's built up around the video. So we're not necessarily in the application, but we're helping companies who are using video in their applications to get that video distributed. So, using the edge of the network, we're helping place the video close to people. So you're getting good options for localization, you're getting high performance, you're getting low latency. And so really it's about the distribution of video for us. And all of those applications that we're now using that rely on video, are providing a window into that service for us.
Absolutely terrific. No, that's perfect. So, and I think that really helps kind of distinguish between one or the other and looking at that. I have another question I'm going to present to you, but maybe what we should do is maybe jump in and kind of, as we talk about this real-time streaming and what you've kind of just gone over and so graciously provided a lot of information that's very helpful. Maybe we show people how this works and give
Yeah,
an
that'd be cool.
opportunity. Okay, let's
Yeah.
go and do that. We'll jump over and we'll do that right now.
Okay, so we're going to see a video here of me contributing a feed of a clock into our real-time streaming service. And so I'm sending it into our LA pot, which is highlighted now from a camera. And then I've got 3 players that are then playing that same stream out. So I've got one, again, connected to my service in LA, one in Paris, and one in Japan. And those are at the bottom of the screen: LA, Charles de Gaulle, and Japan. LA, Paris, and Japan. So what we're seeing is they're pretty much in sync with each other, right? So there's less than a second of latency between those. What I'm going to do at the same time is get my screen here and take a kind of screenshot of my screen so you can see what time it is on my computer and what time it is on the screen, right? So we're going to take a screenshot of that. And then what we'll be able to see is that we've got pretty much, we're at 0224 seconds, and then the points, the milliseconds are different between the different locations, LA, Paris, and Japan, but we're pretty much all within a pretty reasonable amount of latency, given that that's a global stream. It's less than a second of latency there between all those streams distributed around the world and coming back into my computer. So as we go back to the stream, what's also exciting about this solution is, of course, as I was saying earlier, we're able to incorporate the use of messaging between users. So there's kind of that social element of the stream, and also data. So here is a message. In this mock-up, we're just going to send a message from this one viewer here, and then you see it kind of show up in the other 2 viewers. So we're able to send messages across connected players, and then we're also able to send data. So here we're putting in a data value for 1 of number of likes, right? So we've got our likes, they're 1, and then everyone can see that. And then if we update likes to be a bigger number, and then we send that, it updates for everybody at the same time. So using that type of data sharing between applications, using that as an example, you can see how you'd share data across the different players. So we're seeing there latency, right, of less than a second as we send a stream into LA, we play it back, we play it in Paris, and we play it in Tokyo. And then we're sending data across those 3 players as well. So you kind of begin to see with that little bars and tones thing, the kind of opportunity you've got for social interaction and pushing data out into the players as the streams go. So yeah, we're really excited. This sort of combination of sub-second latency, bi-directional data sharing, it's really driving use cases in sport, social, sort of community watching, if you like, this wagering, live auctions, quizzing, interaction with the commentators and so on. Loads of use cases I can't even think of, but we're really excited about it.
No, that's cool. I think that's fantastic. It kind of gives us an idea of kind of where this is going. I think some people can go back in the video here and kind of look through it and talk about that. The other part of it is that you were going through the video that I was thinking of is that, we talk about edge computing, right? And we talk about the elements and that as it relates to online video. Yeah. Where do you see that playing a part in this process? I know that's something that Limelight Networks you guys cover and manage, because I think this is another part of the change that's kind of occurred. We talk about the real-time, ultra-low latency, the interaction, and being able to streamline that process. But then there's the edge component, right? And that probably plays a little part on the CDN. Maybe talk about where edge comes into that process.
Yeah. So throughout our network, we've got edge computing solutions in quite a lot of our locations. And what they do is put these computing resources closer to the consumers and generators of data, so it can be processed there. So hyper-local data processing for you as an individual, your personalization of your viewing or the content you're consuming, as well as the collection of data for ensuring quality or making real-time decisions about what to show you, for example. It really opens the door for these kind of concepts in video that are really bandwidth intensive and latency sensitive. So otherwise you'd have to send it around the world to some cloud compute center. You can send it locally to our edge locations, process it there, and really enable this performance in the applications we're looking at. So we've been focused on bare metal solutions in our network, virtual machines. We've brought out a product called EdgeFunctions, which allows our customers to run these tiny little bits of code which control how the apps and the content behaves. Like, what bitrate does your device get through you? What personalization do you get? Watermarking for security. So we've got this really comprehensive set of edge options in and throughout our network, and we're continuing to expand where that network edge is and what we can do with it. And so again, it's about putting control in our customers' hands, customization of that workflow for video, and ultimately, it's about giving the user an exciting and engaging experience of high quality, and that you're not waiting for, you press the screen and it reacts, right? You're not waiting and saying, well, what is that doing? Did it do what I thought it did?
Right.
So, it's really exciting that there's a lot more there in the network edge, and a lot more coming down the development pipeline for us as well.
No, absolutely. It kind of reminds me, I mean, it's I think of the stack model, right? And a set of services that are being handled and delivered. And I think you're right. This is and I think that is a lot of value in that. And just you taking the time to go through this and kind of walk through that process. I'm hoping this gives people kind of a better understanding of, that's why I say, not all CDNs are equal, right? Not everybody out there does the same thing. And I think we use the term kind of loosely CDN. When we're talking about online video, we're talking about a lot of processes running in the background to handle and manage this. And now with the growth of online video and adding additional what you've just covered today in terms of ultra low latency, real-time interaction, and to the edge for playback and having the overall good quality of user experience, whether they're watching a sporting event or some of the type of media type content. There's a lot going on there, and you guys are doing a phenomenal job just trying to manage that process, right? And provide a lot of value for your customers, for the end user. So this has been fantastic, Steve. I really appreciate you taking the time today to kind of go into some detail and provide that. What would be, as kind of a next step, what would be the best way for people to learn more about Limelight Networks? What would you recommend for people to go to your website, and learn, if they want to learn more, maybe contact somebody there? Is there an area they should start and maybe evaluate?
Yeah, I mean, there's a free trial button on the website. So that the easiest, most straightforward way is come check it out. On the website, there's a sort of an array of kind of data sheet type material about what's going on. Check out developers.limelight.com as well for the a view into what we're doing from a developer perspective. So yeah, free trial on the website will get you in touch with the people that are the experts in setting you up to check out how well Limelight Networks can work for you.
That's fantastic. I so appreciate your time today, Steve. And I know it's later your time, but this has been super, one, super cool. And two, the opportunity to have you talk about, from a content delivery network provider, somebody in the industry that's been around a long time, been a while, and has experience and well-versed in this process, and now offering a higher level of services. So I so appreciate your time, and thank you for your effort to kind of walk us all through that. And we wish you all the best in the coming days in this new norm that we're in, and for you and the Limelight Network team. So as we kind of move forward and go from there. So thank you again.
Thanks, JP. It's been an absolute pleasure to be on the show. Really appreciate the opportunity. And yeah, stay safe. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks everybody for joining with us today. Appreciate your time. If you have any comments, feedback for myself from watching this, let us know. Give us some input in terms of that opportunity to be able to follow up. Love to hear your thoughts on this. Thank you. Stay safe, stay well, and have a great day.